I mean, why would I start a podcast when I can just be on a bunch of other people's?
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's like owning. A famous person once told me, never own a boat, sail someone else's.
Oh my god, I made a friend that has a boat last week.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You
What?
never have to buy a boat, but buying
Not
a boat
my friend
is-
now. Dang.
Not yet.
Man.
Not yet.
You could be like, hey, can we have a podcast on the boat?
That would be sick.
That would be
Ooh.
sick.
Sailing on the seven seas.
He told me-
Kinda crazy.
From the other
That's
sea.
a whole other side.
That's
of
the
things.
other side.
Yeah,
He told
yeah.
me we can go to Catalina on it.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's
Let's go to Catalina.
And do a
for
podcast on the
sure.
boat.
That's neither the west side or the east side.
Hello and welcome back to the Other Side Cycling Podcast, hosted by me, Lucy Mannall, and Patrick James Roldan. This is episode 6. Hey Patrick.
Hello, Lucy. How's
Hey.
it going?
It's going great. I didn't mess up the intro this week. I'm pretty happy about that. I tried very hard. And I'm super excited about the guest that we have here today.
Hello, Milo. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Wow, I didn't know people were excited that I was coming down.
Super
Nice.
excited to have you, man. We are joined today by Milo Baker, coming in from Atwater, Los Angeles, formerly a resident of Berkeley.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The Bay Area, East Bay,
Sweet.
Berkeley and Oakland. Yeah, that's where I hail from, and yeah, that's where my heart always will be.
How long
Well-
have you been in LA?
Been in LA since September.
Oh, wow,
So,
fresh.
Yeah, really, really fresh. Although, my family, my mom's side of the family is based down here. They've been living down here for a while, so this has always been a place that I've come through and that I've been familiar with. It's up in the Bay. There's a lot of competition between like, oh, what's better, the Bay or LA? It's like I see both sides. Both
It's a
are-
whole different
yeah,
world in both ways, man.
So many ways. I mean, there's perks and there's pits and peaks of both places, really.
Definitely. Well, we're really excited to have you on today. I think there are a couple of new things that we want to talk about in the From Downtown. Big news that we want to jump into right away is that Milo's bicycle, sadly, was stolen yesterday in Highland Park.
Indeed, it was stolen. Yeah, right out from under me, really. I mean, I was just like chilling with the homies at the coffee shop, at my favorite coffee shop, Collage. Shout out Collage.
Good folks.
Just chatting with them. Returned my cup. It was also quick. I just like went in, put my cup down, said goodbye, and then walked out. And I was like, "Where's my fucking bike?"
Dude was hawking you for sure. Then.
I guess, but it's like some local dude, because someone found, like, there's been multiple sightings. Someone saw him like 5:30 yesterday on York, 2 blocks down the street from where it got stolen, like walking his dog with the bike. So homies around. Same thing. This morning, someone saw him over by the Highland Park metro station. So
Dang.
yeah, dude, I've been in the whip all day, just
Looking
like
for it.
just scoping, just driving hella slow, like rolling down. I got the tints on, like if you see a Volkswagen Golf like rolling down the street bumping King Von, like you better be scared.
I'll join you on the hunt for your bike
Yeah.
after we're done here for sure.
You gotta bump King Von though. Like that's
Yeah, I've got headphones.
yeah.
Obviously, I really hope the bike turns up as soon as possible, or at least you get your hands on it, and hopefully this guy is... Well, I mean, he sounds like an idiot.
Yeah.
But just in case it isn't back between now and Wednesday, when this podcast will hopefully go live, what bike is it? Is there a description, anything like interesting about it? And if people see it, maybe they can help.
Yeah, no. It's a Santa Cruz Highball. It's 2019. It's the gray color with an orange fox fork. It's like pretty recognizable. It looks pretty sick.
Hardtail, yeah.
Hardtail, yeah. It's the Highball, so it's their like cross country race hardtail. Gray frame, orange fork. It's fox, so it's got the gold on it and everything. And yeah, it's like a size XL. Like homie who's riding it obviously does not fit the bike. So yeah, the dude has a big brown dog too, apparently. Like that's what they tell me. So
You know what? It's really hard to be towed around by your dog on
Yeah,
a bike because
totally.
you need 2 hands to really handle most bicycles. but, like,
Totally. I mean, that's like, that's part of why I was like, the scenarios I was running through my mind when I catch the dude is like, how can I use the dog to my advantage? Like to where like,
dog, bring a treat.
Yeah, bring a treat or some
Steak.
shit, or like, throw like a steak down the way.
You
or
just
like,
go to the Super A,
Mhm.
grab like a carne asada flank, and
Yeah.
just toss it, and hopefully he
Totally.
comes by.
I mean, we were talking today about like just how easy it is also just to make someone crash. Like I don't even have to like put my hands on anybody.
Oof.
I could just run out like real quick and like pump
Stunt.
fake him, and then
Yeah.
he's like, oh shit, oh, you know, like it's pretty simple. I've almost crashed that way too, just from someone like coming around the corner of a car trying to park or
Yeah.
like trying to get to their parked car. It's like, damn, it's
So
really
they
that easy. So
jump out from nowhere.
yeah, dude. Like I mean, you know, there's all this talk because you know people tell you if you're like, you kind of got to do some vigilante justice if you're trying to get your bike back. Like police really aren't going to do anything.
Yeah.
They'll tell you. They're like, yeah, we're not going to do anything because it like there's a ton of bikes that get stolen. So you really got to take shit in your own hands, and like it's a good life skill, I think, to have. I picture this more as a growth moment for myself rather than like a bummer situation, which it is, but like, you know, I might get a chance here to do some detective work.
Well, you gotta start carrying around like a little mini lock on the mountain bike.
Yeah,
Something
I
to,
mean,
like-
dude, I was just talking about that with some people. I mean, it doesn't really like fit with the whole like cycling aesthetic to be carrying around like a lock, right? But I'm sure they've made a lot of stuff look cool over the years. So
I'm not talking about like a big beefy
Nah,
U or chain.
nah. Yeah, I've seen people with those little like auto lock type things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Some coffee shops, and I'm not calling out the coffee shop for not having this, but some coffee shops have locks that you can borrow if it's like a cycling heavy space. And I've used locks from those places. Thankfully, haven't had any issues myself, but I've used those locks and thought, these aren't actually that good.
where are these coffee shops at?
I mean, there's Peddler's Fork in Calabasas that you
Oh, they
hang
do
your
have a
bike
lock thing
outside,
there.
and that's like a very, very cycling dedicated space.
You ain't getting your bike stolen in Calabasas.
No, but
I
like,
hate to say it, but like more shops on the east side gotta have it for sure, because I feel like we got some really high trafficked ones. But
Oh, yeah.
you know it's.
but also you should be able to go take your bike to the coffee shop, and like we've probably done that between us hundreds of times and had never had an issue.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's
Like,
a,
sure.
yeah.
The greater problem is the desperation that someone needs to have to go after a
Yeah.
bike. Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the responses to crime that I've gotten from a lot of people is just like, oh man, these people like so sick and demented, like what a messed up individual, like, and it's really like, dude, like the effects of poverty
Yeah.
are to blame for this, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that shit
mean-
has to happen, but like it's poverty is like the fourth biggest cause of death in the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
And it's the fourth
It's an
biggest
epidemic.
cause, it's like the number one cause of crime for sure. So I can't be mad at the dude.
Yeah.
It's just like
circumstances
back.
were that he had the opportunity to get a badass
Yeah.
bike in a moment's notice, and unfortunately you were the victim of
dude,
this
he caught me
opportunity.
lacking. I mean, honestly, like
Honestly.
yeah, dude. I mean, he capitalized right at the right moment. I was just like saying goodbye. So props to him. Honestly, he was slick with it because I had no idea. But yeah, now I have a pretty big idea.
Oh,
Well, I really hope you get it back. I know of a number of stories in LA from people I know that have had their bike stolen and they have managed to get it back. And the fact that there has been sightings yesterday and today, I think, and I really hope that bodes well for you getting it back. So
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. I have friends too up in the Bay. Shout out Rieger. Shout out JP. They did some crazy detective
I
work
saw
to get
that.
that. Yeah, you
dude,
saw
Rieger's
that.
story of that
Yo.
was crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, shout out Katie, also known as Rieger. We miss you a lot in LA. I wish you didn't move, but whatever. I hope you and JP are happy. Anyway, they pulled some crazy detective stuff to get JP's bikes back.
Triangulated like a bunch of different
Yeah.
surveillance cameras.
Yeah, and Facebook. I mean, luckily the dude who was the perpetrator, he was like a big Facebook marketplace seller.
Sounds like he's a professional at that thing.
I think he was. Yeah, I mean, but he's obviously like not so professional where he put his he actually has a profile pic of himself as the seller. And
Yeah.
so that's like
Rookie move.
Yeah,
Rookie move.
if I was to be in the business of stealing bikes, I for sure would not have my own photo as my Facebook Marketplace profile. That's for damn sure. But
If I had it, I would put your face.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. You don't know who it is? Nah, yeah, that'd be funny. I'd probably have like a Powerpuff Girl,
Which Powerpuff Girl would you be?
dude. The green one. I don't know what her name-
Buttercup?
Yeah, is that Buttercup? I thought she was the blue one with that would make
No, that's Bubbles.
That's Bubbles.
And then Blossom is the red. Why do I know so much about this? Do you know the Powerpuff Girls? Do you get this reference?
yeah, I know of them. I don't.
Ah.
I watched them, but I don't think I could tell you any of their names.
You read the books ever? Like
There
the
were
comics?
there was
like,
manga
there was-
Powerpuff
yeah,
Girls.
there was like graphic novels.
Wow.
Yeah, I really liked it. One time my uncle made fun of me. He was like, "Oh, Powder Puff Girls." I was like, dude, you have not peeped game yet. But...
Honestly, like, I mean, like, that's badass empowerment for girls and women.
And men.
Superheroes.
Yeah, dude.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, like, it inspires us all to have, like, this powerful feeling about us, right?
Dude, for sure. For sure.
I think that should just jump us straight into your topics for the From Downtown segment. You wanted to talk a little bit about bike racing this week, yeah?
First one I want to start off with is Flanders. And I know that happened a couple weeks ago, but I was speaking to a friend that went to spectate it along with a couple of their friends, and they were talking to me about their experience. Basically, Flanders, you have the men and the women racing on the same day. I think the men race first, then the women race after. And sometimes that's the other way around, depending on the race and the situation. Obviously, it's cool that they both happen on the same day. It means logistics are good. Spectators in general should all be there. However, my friend was saying that once the men's race had gone through, most of the other spectators that were around them just left. They were just like, oh, the race is done. We're going to go, like, find a bar, drink some beer or whatever. And their group was just like, where are you going? And they actually started calling people out around them, like, excuse me, where the hell do you think you're going? The women's race is still coming through. And obviously, I wasn't there in that situation, but I just wanted to highlight what the hell. People have done so much work to get these races happening at this level and in this way. It was just a crazy story to hear that. And, yeah, I just wanted to, like, bring some light to that situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially, it's been a big weekend for controversy in the women's races, too, just with the actions of a lot of spectators and whatnot, too. I mean, we saw homie in the, was it, like, the UAE kid trying to come in the race? And
during Liège, right?
Yeah, dude.
That was messed up.
Super messy.
No, I mean, that dude is like the poster child, the Fred that hops on women's rear wheels, you know, just out in the like everyday world, you know. It's like people got to deal with that all the time. This fool is like on camera doing the exact same thing in a pro race. I don't know.
It puts them in such like really bad danger. It's like two perspectives of this, right? Like what Lucy was talking about with the crowds leaving. It's like, why are you walking away from the spectacle of some of the strongest people in the world on bicycles about to come through when you just did that for the dudes? Like, stick around.
Yeah,
stick
especially
around.
If you have spent, I mean, these people might have been local, they might have not, but if you have planned your day around seeing this race, maybe you have to wait a couple of hours, but bring the vibes, play some card game, have some food, have a picnic, whatever, like watch the women's race that's approaching. It's exciting, if not more exciting than the men's. I don't get it. For sure.
I mean, but, you know, again, if this would have happened to Matthew Vanderpool or Tadej during the race, like, dude, homie would have been... gotten his ass beat, dude.
Definitely not jump into a race without a number.
Him.
That's
so
insane.
I haven't heard anything about like the police response to this dude at all. I think it took them a minute to even get him off the course.
Yeah.
Like the motorcycle during it, I saw like kind of went over and was like, stop, no.
Yeah. I mean, here we go talking about vigilante justice.
Yeah, right?
Like,
someone should have tackled him. I mean, man, you even see that in like football games where someone rushes the field. I've seen a fan even like tackle another fan for jumping into the game.
Obviously, like, I fully am on board with you guys' point of view here, but there also has to be some sensitivity around a motorized vehicle. It's like when you find the person that has taken your bike, like, how do you approach that? How do you get that situation? And in a race where thousands upon thousands, maybe millions of people are watching, what do you do in that moment whilst protecting the professional women that are actually racing? And also just, I would be in shock about how someone had the balls to even be in that situation in the first place. So
had to be someone with balls.
Yeah.
But it speaks to the unique nature of professional bike racing about how, you know, it's not a closed course. Peloton comes through and moments later they're picking up the barriers and they're getting out of there. You know, it's really just a traveling circus everywhere they go. So
when we watch bigger races, like when you are a spectator who is able to go along with the riders, for example, like climbing up a savage climb like Galibier, right? You have people running alongside, the spectators running alongside, and they create like the narrowest path. Yeah, they basically make a tunnel. And it's like, how do the riders know which apex of which corner they'll be able to take to get the best line, most efficient line? That's
I mean, like, it's something you hear them talk about a lot in the interviews. It's just like that, you know, more experienced riders will say you just literally have to ride and you have to trust that they're all going to get out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, and there have been situations where they haven't, but I am always surprised, you know, seeing people attack full gas into a whole crowd of people. I mean, that's like crazy.
Well, that's the narrowest window of opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I guess so, but you're also on your limit too. I would hope that they're on their limit, but it's like having that confidence just to like send it into a full crowd and knowing that they're all gonna like, you know, make a tunnel for you to go through is often pretty wild.
Not that it matters for. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's crazy. I have been to the Tour de France and a number of other races, and it's a privilege that we get to be so close to the action. We don't have to pay for a ticket to watch these people. That is a real privilege, the kind of beauty of that whole situation. But it's mad that people go to these events to then, I don't know, maybe they get carried away, but I have never felt the need to run up against a professional cyclist or get in their way. I'm like,
let alone
respect.
ride your bike next to them.
I get so angry when I see it on the big races, on the climbs.
One of the more exciting sporting events I've gone to has been the Tour and the Tour of California. I've had the privilege of seeing both of those races, you know, 2 or 3 times. It was cool because it really allowed, like at least with the Tour of California, it allowed people to really experience how exciting cycling can be. I mean, there's so much anticipation when you're in person. It's like you hear like the thundering of the helicopters getting close. You hear all these cars coming through, like the team cars and like the police were coming off the roads, and you're like, oh my God, they're close. Yeah. And then you have all these people and they're coming through and they're like, get back. And then it's just like this huge roar of just like
free hubs.
Yeah, free hubs and carbon wheels and
you feel like
fast
the air
tires.
moving.
And you just, it's like this wave of color. And I brought my grandma to see the Tour of California first before we went to go see the Tour de France together. And dude, she still talks about those days.
Yeah.
And she wasn't even really into cycling before.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a really special thing. I mean, there's so many people who I meet now who like the Tour of California was the reason why they are into professional cycling. You know, they're not even cyclists, but you know, it's just they remember those days.
Yeah, we've talked on this podcast before how that race should come back, should make an appearance again. I never got the privilege of seeing it. I don't think you have either.
No,
and
definitely not. Just
the fact that there isn't anything of that same scale in the US since is just pretty sad.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to 2028 when the Olympics come to LA. Apparently they're starting down by you in Venice.
Hell yeah.
We'll see where that route goes, but that would be the closest thing we get to that unless the Tour of California is revived, you know?
Should just be a loop of all the group rides that happen in LA. Starts off with Mandeville.
Yeah. Mandy up and over onto like Mulholland across, reverse, like drop down Benedict, come up Nichols.
Then ponies.
Yeah, go across to like Jeep. That would be sick, actually.
And then
just go straight into Circle of Doom. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
200
it would
miler.
be. I'm surprised that no one has even the Tour of California hasn't done it. They've done like Baldy and all those, but
yeah,
they there's a lot of roads up there that like you could make a really messed up road race in those mountains.
It is sick to see the local segments that we have here that like you and I will like hit a sprint on, and it's like, oh, we're never gonna get a top 10 here because the freaking tour passed through.
Yeah, dude, I'm like competing with like Tom Schkoins or something.
Yeah, exactly.
There, dude. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty cool. I mean, I always love to, you know, if you ever ride like Lindora Mountain Road, GMR, Baldy Ridge, everything, like that's one of the few segments where you can see Tadej Pogačar on the Strava segment.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's few people in the world that like, you know, few places in California where you can see that happen.
That was one of the first races he did that really kind of shone a light on his talent.
Yeah, that brought him to the limelight. I remember that because I remember at the start of the season when he signed with UAE, it was like this whole thing. It was like, oh yeah, like UAE signed this like 19-year-old kid, and I was like, all right, we'll see what he does. I just thought it was crazy because that dude looked like a baby when he was signed.
How much older are you than Pogačar?
No, I'm younger than him. I'm younger than him by like 2 years, I think.
Lord.
There's a lot of really good cyclists that come out of California, but like definitely seeing him and like Remco getting signed, I was just like, dude, I'm never becoming a pro. But yeah, dude, I remember him getting signed. You didn't hear anything about him the whole rest of the year, and then suddenly it's like he comes to the Tour of California, is quiet all race, doesn't show his face once, and then on that Baldy stage just just fucking demolished these guys.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like, just, like, everyone was just like, what the hell? Like, this kid, he was, like, at the back, too, of this, like, select group and just absolutely pinned it. And it was like, oh, that's the dude. That's that baby that they signed. And then he went on to, like, win 3 other Vuelta stages earlier and get on the podium. Yeah. I was like, dude.
Nasty work.
Yeah, nasty work. Absolutely savage. I mean, yeah, he's just a very natural-looking guy.
That smoothly brings us into the talking point that I wanted to have for From Downtown. But what is it that makes cycling, watching it live, whether by, streaming on television or watching it in person, like what makes it exciting? What is it for you that draws you in?
I think that, I mean, if you're in person, it's a whole different experience. It's like that. There's just being there is really exciting. Even seeing the dudes who are like off the back roll through, it's still cool. But I think watching it on television, there's very few sports where there's kind of there's like a journey that's completed with it. Like track, of course, it's like how many laps you do, right? Yeah. But they're really completing like an epic journey each race. Like those are crazy rides. You get to see so much scenery all at once. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, it's like a very dynamic thing. There's people like attacking each other. It's just like this open chess game being played out on the roads. And I think it's like this countdown, like, watching the kilometers go down, watching the gap go out. I think just seeing all these dynamics play out and like, in some cases it's so complex that you can't even predict what's going to happen. And I think that for me is like really amazing about the sport and something that keeps me, sweating in my seat when I watch a race. Of course, right now it's a little bit less interesting because Tadej is just like winning everything too. Respect to him. I'm not talking shit on Tadej, but I will say I am a little bit disappointed every time I tune into a race and I see it's 45K to go and that dude already has like a minute and 30. I'm like, all right, well, I don't need to watch anymore. Yeah. Like I already know what happens.
Open Instagram and dude. It's like a spoiler. Like, Tadej attacked. Oh, he's going to win.
And dudes in interviews even say they're just like, as soon as that happens, we just kind of like race for a second. I'm like, oh my God. Dude, because they got it. I mean, oh my God.
Was that Ben Haley saying that at the weekend?
Yeah, he was like, when do you retire, bro? Damn, already throwing in the towel. They could have they chased him back in Amstel. Yeah. Like, come on. Yeah, whatever. That's my take, is that Tadej is cool, he's making history, but at the same time, it's like, dude, the bike races that I enjoy watching most are honestly the ones that he doesn't show up at.
Fair. I do think the women's races are, like I said this last time, the women's races are a lot more exciting these days than they were in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think the tactics have improved so much. Like, I remember watching the Tour de France Femme maybe 2 years ago and, like, wondering, I mean, even last year, wondering why the tactics were done the way they were. It's like, what are you guys doing? Why are you attacking your own teammate? Why are you chasing back your own teammate?
That's a whole other thing.
There's a whole other
thing. That could be analyzed in sports teams across so many. It's like, the Bulls and
But I mean, I'm here now watching the Women's World Tour and being like, wow, they're actually like Pauline Ferrand-Prévot and Marianne Vos are working together to make Pauline's attack stick.
Yeah, that was an epic race.
Like Marianne Vos is like, I'm not taking a pull. I'm not chasing back my teammate. That's sick as hell. Like to see that, like, I mean, Marianne Vos is like one of the most tenured bike racers, regardless of gender. So
these are comments on Paris-Roubaix.
Yes. That is a comment on Paris-Roubaix.
Exactly.
But just overall, I think the tactics are so much more like fine-tuned, and that definitely has to do with investment into the sport as far as like team sports directors and like
for sure
coaching.
For sure, but there also can be something to be said about like chaotic tactics too. Just like when no one knows what's going on, like the Worlds, having a ban on radios and like not knowing what the hell is going on at any one point, and then you got these teams where it's like all the superstars from every country and they all like kind of want to win, but are like, oh no, but I'll work for you, I guess.
Or the other people working for their usual teammates, because in the long run, it actually benefits them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, like just in general, like watching Garrett race for Mark to win his, like, was it 35th victory? Like,
oh, in the Giro?
No, that was during the Tour, right?
No, like, dude, when Garrett, that was Giro, when he like came through on the front, was on an opposite team.
Yeah, he's on Ineos.
Dude, that was so sick. Oh my God.
I think it was the Tour de France that Bradley Wiggins won in 2012.
He let him out.
Yeah, that was it. Bradley Wiggins led Mark Cavendish out
In the
onto
yellow-
the Champs-Elysees in the yellow jersey.
Yeah.
Like, I have fucking goosebumps.
Yeah.
for sure.
Because I remember watching that, and it was first
Yeah.
British person to win the Tour de France, and then you have Mark Cavendish, who's just an absolute legend, and he's probably going to get the stage, but he might not, because it's that stage, the last stage.
He was on HCC at this point.
No, it was Sky.
He was on Sky?
Yeah,
Oh,
dude, that was the one because Bradley Wiggins was on Sky.
Yeah.
And he was in the World Champions bands. He was on Sky for 1 year, and it was when he was world champion. And yeah, that was an epic race. That was so sick.
I mean to bring that up to be like, what can we do to make American cycling more exciting to watch? Whoa, oh my goodness. I spent the weekend watching Speed Week kickoff, right? USA Crits Speed Week down in Athens. Like the whole USA Crits basically was like the nationwide leader in criterium racing, and like while Legion was like kicking ass on that whole circuit, they've basically just condensed to be a bunch of smaller, still pretty large scale events in the Southeast, which I don't think they should be called USA Crits anymore, because it's really just Southeast. It's like the SEC and like collegiate, but
and also it's just like, dude, it's such like a niche community that's like even involved with it, because like I feel like they had their moment, like, during the pandemic, like afterwards, like the whole like Legion blow up and everything. And I think it's a cool concept, like kind of bringing back like the stadium sport aspect of it, like of just like, okay, well, Americans really like stadium sports, things you can watch like 100% of the time, and stuff you can spectate on easily, which crits are. Like, you stay in one place, you see them do hella laps, it's fine. I just think that like there's so much more to offer in the US as far as
100%. I'm in agreement with you totally on that, because I don't find, I mean, I glued on to watch it. Like, I watched the women's race, and I didn't watch the men's race because I didn't feel the need to. The women's race was enough of that adrenaline for me. Like, it was very crashy in the last 10 laps, which, I don't ever want to see that, but it is part of the spectacle of racing. The announcing, it wasn't attractive to me. In a crit, you can't really tell like a great story, because they're just doing loops and laps of...
There's no scenery.
There's no scenery. And then the way that they film it, it's like, okay, sure, there's limitations on the broadcast, but you're not like capturing the crowd. You're not capturing like the sponsors even. Like, you have the banners and all that, but it's not eye-catching to me.
Were they able to tell the stories of the riders? Like, had they clearly done that research into, this rider is known for riding? Like,
I'm sure they did. Yeah, because the winner was Alexis Magner, nay Ryan, Kendall Ryan's sister, who Alexis has been racing on the UCI calendar. She's been on the pro circuit, like in Europe. I think someone on the announcing team was like, oh, Alexis isn't used to these kinds of accelerations, like for a 1 hour power. It's like, dude, they're doing 1 hour criterium power for like at least the first 2 or 3 hours of a pro race. You're kidding me, right? Like, a stage race is so much harder than a crit.
I'd really love to see them throw, like, I mean, they've kind of done it with like Luke Lamperti, but dude, if they throw like one World Tour rider into one of these fucking crits, dude, they're all getting iced.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they would be done. Like, they're just, someone would just be like, cool, I'm just gonna attack from like the third lap.
But then that would make it boring too, right? Like,
that would. I mean, dude, man, I think crits are cool. I don't want to like bum anyone's hide on that. I just think that there's so many more cool ways where you can get people into cycling, and that doesn't even, not even like traditional bike racing in that sense. I think that people really got to understand the team nature of cycling just as a whole, which I think is something that is, one of the toxic traits of cycling, is just like the individuality that it breeds. A lot of people just like going for their own glory and like not really realizing that cycling, it's meant to be done together. It's meant to be used as a way to like empower others, and it's really like a very complex team activity to do, like that whole race. I mean, it's just like how the production of a show takes so many people backstage to get done. It's just, bike race, you're relying on, one dude is relying on like 8 other guys or gals.
Yeah.
And I think that there needs to be more more to be done just within the community, even at the grassroots level, to breed that idea of teamwork. Because I think if people understood that more, I personally think that there would maybe be a bit more respect for it and interest as well. Because it can be a very intimidating sport to get into, to understand when you are approaching it as an individual. It's very cliquey, and a lot of people don't know where to start. There's often this there's picture painted even in marketing of brands. Yeah, here's this like person and they're just in solitude.
Suffering.
You're just suffering. You just got to be suffering like a dog on your own and just like being out there. And it's like, dude, that is, yeah, there's a lot of people to do that.
I mean, when you're out there training.
Yeah, for sure. But dude, like it also is a thing that you kind of have to do with people. Other people push you. You learn how to ride a bike better by being with others.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that there needs to be more at the more events, media that highlight the aspect of community and the aspect of teamwork and how to use that to like broaden your horizons in cycling. I think that I have my own thoughts on how that can happen, but
Yeah, I mean, the idea of riding with other people and learning how to work with other people is huge. That should lead us straight into the staples portion of the podcast. Lucy, you did quite a bit of riding with other people recently, yes? Tell us about your weekend.
The most riding I have done in a little while, which was super nice, which also wasn't loads and loads and anything huge, but it was good. A couple of different people. I started out on Thursday, I think it was, riding with a friend who had ridden down from Ceuta back down to LA. They were a friend from England, and
Shout out V.
It was great to hear about her stories of riding. It's something I did 2 years ago. We kind of shared similar experiences. She was using an app or a website called Warm Showers, where it's like a bike packing tool. Basically, you can hit up people on the route, or you put in your route and people offer up maybe their spare bedroom in their house or a space for you to sleep, have a warm shower, and it's a safe space generally. And she stayed with a couple of interesting people on the way, so it was cool to hear about that whole experience from her point of view. And also we got out for a ride as well. Took her up Franklin, down Benedict, favorite route of mine. But I feel like it's a good, from the west side anyway, it's like a nice route to show someone kind of the different parts of LA. You go through Santa Monica.
Not LA.
Yeah. That's like one part of LA and then there's coastline.
LA County, thanks.
Yeah, but go on. That's great.
Go on.
That's a great route, yeah.
No shade.
I felt shade.
Yeah.
But then you get to Beverly Hills and it feels very different. And then you turn left, the big streets, they're lined with palm trees, huge houses. Then you have that nice climb up along Mulholland, back down Benedict. And yeah, super nice route. I think she enjoyed herself. She was a little hungover. Not my fault. Maybe my fault.
Not warm waters.
Pardon?
Not warm waters.
Not warm showers? Is that what it is?
No. That was.
Are you listed on warm showers?
No, I'm not. I do not have space in my house, sadly. It's been good to bring some consistency back into my riding again. Got out on Friday and then had the day off work, so we went out, headed towards Calabasas. We kind of had to go the long way because PCH is still closed, but we went up the Snake, which is a climb that's closed because they're doing a lot of repair work on it still. A lot of motorbikes used to go up it because it's kind of got some nice hairpins and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And they've been talking about reopening. Fingers crossed they don't. That's reopening for cars. It's open for cyclists. We did a little loop around there and then did some gravel around. Do you know the MASH, like TV series, MASH? Mm-hmm. There's this site where they filmed some of the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And I had never been there. So we went exploring around there, and it's cool. There's a couple of props and old cars.
Like Jeeps.
That rusted, basically.
Yeah,
leftover litter from production.
Yeah, it's like...
and some signage to, like, explain what you're looking at.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's so much, like, memorabilia around LA that are, tied to the film industry. It's just like how if you go, like the famous, on the east side, there's the Acton Loop, right? Mm-hmm. That's, kind of brings you over closer to Palmdale in the desert out there. kind of parallel to Santa Clarita, but you pass a bunch of movie ranches out there, which
That's
were,
cool.
the old like sets for like westerns and whatnot too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if this is over there, but also the Manson family like hung out at a movie ranch famously.
There are a lot of remnants of Manson family. I listen to a lot of conspiracy theory podcasts, so they pop up in like any LA story.
Like Topanga. Topanga's
Dude,
got some weird
Doheny
stuff,
Drive.
Dude. Oh,
Like,
dude.
there's a lot of Manson connectivity.
Mm-hmm. Same in like Laurel Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of weird stuff going on. Yeah, just anytime. Yeah,
We should make a ride, and it goes through all these areas.
the cult ride.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be crazy.
Writing wise, is there anything else that you got up into?
Yeah, and then on Sunday, yesterday, I don't know what day it is at the minute. It's difficult. Yesterday, we did the MAP Luft women's brunch ride, which was super fun. Nice little group. We had around, I think there was 60 people signed up for it.
Sick.
And yeah, short little loop around the west side. Saw some friends, made some new friends. Yeah, highly recommend it. I think it's going to be a series. The other dates haven't been announced yet, but stay tuned because as soon as I know them, I will share them on this podcast and through social media. That was super fun.
Very cool.
I think we rode past LeBron James's house.
Oh, were
Someone-
there a bunch of security like
Yeah.
idling their cars?
A lot of Escalades.
Yeah, and they were running, and they were just sitting there,
At least
right?
2 of them. Yeah, it looked like a car was kind of trying to pull into the driveway or waiting. There was a lot of security cameras outside. I can't remember. Someone once told me LeBron James lives around that area.
Yeah, he has like 4 houses in
I
LA
imagine.
metro area. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like here, like probably like Calabasas out there.
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
This looked, well, I couldn't see the whole house, but I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to expose where it was, but
You might
it's in
be able to,
Brentwood.
you might be able to see in the back like his little like outdoor basketball setup
That's
in the
in
driveway.
like the
where-
commercials.
That's in the
which-
Taco Bell ones,
Yeah.
dude. Taco Bell partner.
by his pool.
By his pool, yeah. Him and his 2 sons, like.
Those people who are really good at GeoGuessr can find it. I guarantee you.
Yo, yeah, those are. I'm always impressed by that. That's a skill. But yeah, no.
apparently that
LeBron
guy,
James.
maybe he has now. Apparently he had never traveled outside of the US until,
Are we talking about Rainbolt?
I can't remember his name, but he used to live in the same building as my friend.
The
In
GeoGuessr
Venice.
guy.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm guessing that's his name. I don't know much about him, and he was telling me the guy had never been outside of the US,
I mean, why
which
would
is
you?
mad.
When you can just look at Street View.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could watch bike racing, which will tour you around the world.
It's
right?
true. It's true. Bike racing is amazing. It'll make Belgium look like the most interesting place in the world. Which
I
is
mean,
crazy because
Adele would say that it is.
Yeah, I think Belgium's quite fun.
the cities are beautiful. And then you go out of the city and it's just like flat forever. Like, until you get to the Ardennes.
Speaking of flat, my writing calendar has gone kind of flat after a good string of pretty big weeks. The biggest of which came actually with this gentleman. Milo decided to invite me to his team camp, and I was kicking and screaming the whole time because holy crap, those guys are strong. You're, as far as I'm concerned, team, shout out to y'all. That was a really good time. I enjoyed it. They absolutely pushed me to not the limit, but on the climbs, they were having me regret every choice that I made that week.
Does
like-
that mean you have to race now?
No. Definitely not. I think that proved to me that racing that involves climbing is not my forte still. However, it did solidify that I need to go back to the area that we went. Can you tell us a little bit about where your team camp brought us?
Yeah, for sure. It was kind of in a town less traveled for cycling, at least. It's a place kind of in the foothills of the southern Sierras, called Springville, which is just Sprangville. You know the deal. It was it's kind of south of Fresno. It's gonna be like the landmark most people would probably know around there. And yeah, it's just a little town tucked up in the like the foothills of the Sierras. Perfect jumping off point for a lot of different rides. Access to some really just immaculate mountain roads. I mean, from our doorstep, we were able to do 7,500 foot climb up a really, really well paved road. I mean, just like an absolute racetrack. Just like banked corners. Perfect.
So sick.
Yeah, it's just like one of the most perfect roads ever.
You,
I'm
you call it
surprised.
foothills, but like we got up to 7,500 feet.
Yeah, the town is in the foothills, which is just great because you
Yeah.
you just have to descend or do some flat riding
Yeah.
to get back. But yeah, I mean you're really close to Sequoia National Park, which is south of Yosemite.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, given its close proximity to Yosemite, it actually makes it quite a good place to go because everyone else goes to Yosemite. And you
Yeah.
get this whole place just
Yep.
to yourself, and there's such cool roads. I mean,
And high likelihood if you're going fast enough to just take
Get a
random
KOM.
KOMs, which was sick.
yeah, it's always a confidence booster seeing the Golden Crown in your stats. But yeah, I mean, it's a truly amazing area. We got like an Airbnb for not that much because it's a very like low trafficked areas. The one thing that I will say I'm bummed about is that we missed the rodeo that went through there. Which,
Yeah. I think that's happening. It just happened last weekend.
Yeah,
And
literally. Probably
we had gone the weekend before.
Yeah, unfortunately, but anyway. It's the team camp was awesome. It's a really like. I would highly recommend going to Springville or that part of the Sierras, even like Three Rivers area, just because it's just absolutely epic. And,
I highly recommend inviting me so I can make pancakes.
Yeah, Patrick did make pancakes multiple times actually, and it was kind of a joke because he kept being like, "I'm gonna make pancakes in the morning." We were like, "Are you gonna make pancakes in the morning?"
I might.
You might.
I made coffee. I didn't tout so much that I was gonna make coffee, but I
The
did
coffee
also make
was,
coffee.
I think, honestly, the biggest
Biggest boon.
thing. Yeah, I mean, we all got our needs for coffee in the morning. Some people want the caffeine, some people want other things from it. But it's
Yeah.
I was very grateful for Patrick for coming on that too, and he did a good job. He was strong.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I felt very, very, very tired on the climbs, but I
Hey,
woke
man.
up once Milo invigorated me to do the descending.
I think you called it toxic positivity.
Yes,
that
it
I
was
gave you?
100% toxic positivity. It was like,
Yeah.
I would tell the guys, like, yo, y'all are going so hard, and I'm not going to be able to keep up your tempo, which is like high threshold for me. Like, no way I'm going to be able to do that. And they're all just like, no, you can. Just hang on. Just keep going. And I'm like, damn, this is brutal. I appreciate that you
Yeah.
guys think that I can, and maybe I'm underestimating myself,
That's
but
what a team's
holy
for.
crap.
That's what a
Yeah.
team's for.
Yeah.
This has happened multiple times on the rides that we've done just as a team.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of team members who are with us now who we gave the same type of toxic positivity towards, and it's something they always think about. It's like I don't think a lot of people have had like, folks look out for them like that, or like really, really show them like what they can do on the bike.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the things going back to the conversation about teamwork that the community can provide.
Yeah.
It's like we got to do a better job of inspiring others, pushing others rather than just kind of, touting like, oh yeah, like I went after this KOM, or like I did this really sick ride, or like,
Yeah.
you gotta like, most people don't know exactly what they can do.
True.
You gotta show them, and you gotta push them to surprise themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's like the human plus a bike is a crazy combo. You can do like some surprising things on it.
Actually, on the human element, do you want to give us a rundown on who the team actually was that came out with us?
For sure, yeah. So for those that don't know, I am one of the founding members of a team called As Far As I'm Concerned. They're based primarily up in the Bay Area and like Oakland, where I hail from as well. Yeah, we kind of started as like just kind of a collective of friends who wanted to be competitive, who wanted to still reap the same benefits of teamwork, but maybe in an alternative sphere. And while a lot of our members still continue to race, a lot of us come from backgrounds of being in a team, and a lot of us, including the founder, Taylor Pliska. He's like a college track athlete, like a really, really, really amazing one. When he came to cycling, he noticed that there wasn't really like that much of a team dynamic being seen among folks. I mean, when you're a track team, like for track and field, you're all rooting for one another. Like you're always doing stuff together. It's like, track teams are scored based on how their whole team performs. They're not scored based on how one dude does in a race. Like you can have, a bunch of people get second and third the whole like time and you can still win. It's based off of like how the team performs, right? And he didn't really notice that in cycling. And so I think combined with my experience, which, I'm just like a burnt out like junior racer, like we can go into that, but
you came from cross country mountain biking.
Yeah, from cross country mountain biking is how I started, and then I tried road and everything too. And I did like I was okay, but I never like I was also going up against like some really crazy cyclists, a lot of whom in the Bay Area like went to World Tour, like Nielsen Paulus and Luke Lamperti and all those guys. They're all pretty local to around there. When I look back at my experience of cycling and teamwork, when I think of teamwork, I think to the really messed up rides where I was just so grateful to have someone on the front giving me a draft, giving me water, telling me like, you can do this, like you got it.
And now you're that guy.
Now I'm that guy. Yeah. And that's part of how we started this team, is like we wanted to still like keep the same cohesive team atmosphere just through various endurance projects. So we would, do stuff that was kind of, we started, locally, we just kind of got together as a team and we were like, what can we do that like is an event that maybe other people can engage with and we can do as a team. And it was, seeing how fast we could go, we could ride around the entire San Francisco Bay and establish like an FKT route that other people can do, which not a lot of people have. I don't know if anyone else has done it, despite it being a really sick route. And so we went after that.
What's the mileage and time?
It's like 120 miles, and we were going to see if we could do it in like 6 hours flat. And it's, we chose a pretty direct route. It doesn't go on any bike paths. It sticks to mainly like the more direct roads and avoids a lot of the like bigger climbs, but it's like one of the shortest distances around the bay, from starting in Oakland and ending in Oakland. And I think we still have to go back, because I think we were like only like 2 minutes off like 6 hours flat, which sucks, but at the same time something to go back for. But like that was a really cool experience to do. From then we did this really messed up ride from SF all the way down to LA in one go, to try and establish like something like an FKT route that can be done by others. And people have tried, and it's a messed up route. I don't blame them for like, for stopping, but this whole idea is just to engage in these things and try and just try and show like the different ways you can use teamwork in cycling to your advantage, and we're kind of doing more in that sphere now, just with some of the events that we're throwing. We got an event coming up next weekend that we're doing up in Oakland, that's like a running and cycling relay. So that's it's cool. A new way. It's kind of an alley cat style race. Each person takes each person has like 2 checkpoints they have to do, and it's all unsanctioned. You can take whatever route you need to get there. But
sign up still live.
Sign up is still live. Yeah,
we'll share that in the description.
Yeah. But it's called Take the Town, and so it's it'll be a cool way to kind of meld the two worlds of running and cycling, and I think it'll be interesting to see how people use their like collective knowledge and athleticism to their advantage.
Who else was on the trip with us? We had you, me, Taylor.
There was Rachel Carberry. We had Matt Solomon, also one of the founding members. We had Lee King, one of the more talented bike racers from the East Bay, and also frame builder.
Lee King won the Defined edition of the Formula Fixed, right?
Indeed. Yes. Yeah.
They're a sicko on the bike.
Yeah. Lee is one of the more talented bike riders I've ever met. They are just like in so many different styles of riding, just another level of talented. And then you look at kind of what they do off of the bike too, and it's even cooler. They've been highlighted in recent handmade bike shows.
Yeah.
They're just an all around really amazing individual, and I'm glad that they expressed interest in joining our team, because it's really special to have them along. So yeah, they were along. We had a couple LA homies, Max Lane, Audrey Yun, come up. Shout out to them for coming through.
Audrey was my climbing buddy on day 2.
Indeed.
Give me a chance to chill out.
Yeah, we have our latest running disciple, this kid named Sebastian Anderson.
Sick dude.
Another sick dude. Yeah, he's like a lot of the other people on our team, ex-college runner, and has kind of learned how to transfer his watts into the bike. And so it was really cool having him along as well. Yeah. And then of course Taylor was with us, who we mentioned, founder of As Far As I'm Concerned.
Yeah.
Good to have him along as well.
The weekend before the trip, they also had been at Sea Otter, right? Did Rachel race?
Rachel raced, and Rachel, I believe, won her category in Sea Otter. And so I think...
What race was that?
She did the gravel race. I think she did like the 60-mile one.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and I've been telling her afterwards, I was like, dude, you gotta sign up for the elite next time. Because I think,
yeah, Rachel's really, really strong. Yeah, devastatingly strong.
Devastatingly strong. We raced the Speed Project last year and got third after, which was a very bittersweet moment, just because we had it's a long story. We had some technical difficulties with that. But
we know a thing or two about technical difficulties.
The Speed Project cycling version.
Cycling one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were...
And that was the first edition of
the first edition. I was like so stoked that we got invited by one of the sponsors, which was Alba Optics. That's like another like great example of the style of teamwork that we really like to engage with and want to do more of just as a team. Because I felt like that was like possibly one of the closest, most like special team cycling experiences I've ever gotten to witness. I was one of the support crew for that. We had our team of Rachel, Devin Armstrong, who one of my best friends, and one of the most amazing bike riders I've ever met. Like he's just like, just crazy. He also did really well at Formula Fix too. But we had him and James Kinney, who another really slept on athlete, but people in the Bay know him because he will probably take your KOM. Another ex-college runner, just so messed up how strong that dude is. Like makes you mad how strong he is, you know. But we all raced together at the Speed Project. I fed him, I drove the van, I did all the stuff, and like it was cool seeing us like able to go head to head with teams that are more pro than us. Pro. Pro. Yeah. Exactly. We had PA Racing, which
it's a pro program.
Yeah, that's a pro program. They have some really, really strong people. I mean,
Mateo's former World Tour. Did he race?
He did not on the Speed Project.
Yeah. No. He just does the gravel stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was Matt Weeb.
Sicko.
Another sicko. It was Maud. Shout out Maud. She's a real
another Bay Area sicko.
Yeah, she's hella strong. And then Emily Joy Newsom, who also like raced La Tour Femme.
Oh,
she was in the she's raced La Tour Femme before, like a few times, I think. So I was going up against them, and then the Canyon team, which had
vegan cyclist.
Yeah, he was there. VC Adventure Time was there, and then dude, who's the one? She's won Unbound, like
Carolyn Schiff.
Yeah. And then they had this dude from Rad Pack Racing, this guy Kai, who's like a legit pro, has won a bunch of the Fixie Rad Race.
Dude.
He's also really strong too. Yeah.
That seemed like a really interesting team because I don't think they actually had ever met each other.
They didn't, no.
Before. So they were all strong, but it was like, how do we become a team with basically no notice and do this crazy magical event? Like for people that don't know what the Speed Project is, maybe it would be good to just give a super quick overview because it's a cool event, and the fact like it started off originally running.
Yeah, I mean, running has so many things that they can actually teach cycling. And I think this event was like a
preaching to the choir, brother.
Totally. I think that this event was a very, very like good experience of that. So the Speed Project is a relay race from LA to Las Vegas. You race from Santa Monica Pier all the way to the Welcome to Las Vegas sign in Sin City. You do this by relaying with a team of 3 cyclists.
Unsanctioned relay.
Unsanctioned. Yeah, there's no set route. No rules. That's their motto is. No
well,
rules.
there are some rules. You have
There
to
are.
have one active female racer on the team.
You do, and you must go to Las Vegas by way of a specific series of checkpoints, which they alter year by year. There's some that are kind of staples that have been in the running race for quite some time, like the Alicanto Beach Club, which is like this like faux nightclub they set up in the middle of the desert with like a DJ and like they're grilling burgers and everything out there. And there's like
Sick.
Power Line too, which is like a really messed up stretch of road from the California-Nevada border all the way to Las Vegas. But
And
anyway,
you just see it climbing power
yeah,
line, right?
it's like an access road for like these power lines, and yeah, it's a really messed up thing.
it's a fire road essentially.
Yeah, no one in the cycling race did it. We all went around on the road because it was faster. Yeah, I mean it's deep sand. I could see it being faster when you run because you don't got to worry so much about like loose things.
So it's a tactical choice.
Yeah.
I might be wrong here, but I think it took a couple of versions, or maybe at least one version of the running race for people to be, hey, let's try going on the power line, because the thing with that route as well is it's very difficult to take a vehicle down that. You have your support vehicle where your other athletes are sleeping or eating or resting or recovering. And ideally you want that vehicle to be pretty close to you. So if you're like, hey, we need to swap out right now, or hey, I need some water, you can do that. So I think there was one version where people were like, hey, we can take the power line. It's a risk, but maybe it pays off.
And it's kind of become like a really fabled route that a lot of people do just because it's the experience of doing it must be life-changing. I mean, it's like it's so remote, it's really harsh, it's like such a feat of endurance to even complete it. And yeah, I think that's teams for the running race do very, very cool team tactics in that section. Like they have escorts, they have people who come and like camels, people who bring water with them.
Like actual camels?
That would be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. I'm sure that one brand would make an absolute masterpiece of a marketing campaign out of doing that. I gave you the idea.
We're not giving you guys the ideas now.
Exactly.
It's trademarked.
Camelback. Anyway, so yeah, you see like teams pulling these tactics. Like there's people who aren't actually racers, but they're like the domestiques. You know, they're like coming along with these guys
Swannies.
Yeah, like pacers almost as well.
Pacers and like support, like they're carrying the water for them and everything too. And I think that's like a really interesting way of using the team aspect of running to complete the race. But you also saw this during the Speed Project. There was one Canyon team, something different, who did have other riders who were meant to be pacers. They had like Dante Young as one of the pacers for them, who was just like sitting on the front while their riders.
And that was allowed?
That was allowed, yeah. You could do that. You could have multiple team cars and everything. That was all allowed. But it was very cool, like how everyone did the they're like swapping out of riders, like how they paced it. Some people were doing 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off. Others, like we were doing an hour on, hour off, and that seemed to work for us for quite a while until our guy's light died on one of a very pitch black descent, and then like the top 2 riders who he was with just like dropped him.
Damn.
Yeah, that was our bad. That's something to learn for next year. But in the end, I think we, looking at the numbers, we could have done pretty well and been competitive for the win had that not happened. But, live and learn. We mixed it up with the best of them until the last 90 miles. So I feel good about that.
Major.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. What's the biggest learning? Maybe apart from the light.
Yeah, just the logistics. I think that I learned really like where we stood as athletes and as just a team in this sphere. I think I saw how well we worked as a team and like what like I really saw the vision of, as far as I'm concerned, coming together in that moment where it was like all of us are so invested. Even me, I'm not riding, you know, we're all like, we all stayed up for almost 40 hours, you know, to make sure this thing happened. You know, we were holding each other accountable. Everyone was so invested, even when they were puking their guts out or, you know, like blowing up the bathroom of our RV. Like, they're still like, oh no, we got to get out and do it, because we were close, man. I mean, we're going up against people who do this for a living, and we all work. We all have our other things. We struggle to ride 15 hours a week, even though we know we have to. And we were really competitive, and we didn't even bring like two of the other, like everyone who raced, that's their first ultra endurance event.
That's crazy.
We chose not to bring anybody who had done something like that before, because there's people on our team who haven't gotten to experience that yet, and they did really well, and it was incredibly special to watch. I mean, you know, me, Taylor, Matt on the team, we've all done the LA to Vegas route. We have the FKT for it, the unsupported one. We all did that as a team 2 years ago, did it. So we know that route and that terrain super well, but it's like, you know, you got to give other people on the team like a chance to show. And we gave Devin, we gave James, we gave Rachel the opportunity to do so, and they fucking killed it. They did so well. I mean, Rachel was out here like putting Carolyn Schiff in the hurt box, dude. She doesn't even, man, it's crazy like that, man. Yeah, Rachel is just someone who I like ran into when I was working at a bike shop, and it's just awesome being able to like see us like do well in that sphere. It's just like super special. And I think that it you know, paves the way for more events like that to happen in the future that use teamwork in this realm, like, you know, ultra endurance, like relay races, or, you know, something of that nature, or just like, you know, races where they require you to, like a team time trial, like where you have to finish with a certain number of team members with you. Like, I think someone who did that really well earlier in the pro sphere was the Hammer series. Remember that?
Like team time trial.
Dude, on open roads. Yeah. It's like, that was sick. That was like peak bike racing right there. Like team time trial, team pursuit on a open road.
I love a team pursuit
Dude,
style.
that was so sick. I mean, it's like so tactical, because like you have, like, if you're dropping someone, you know, on your team, you gotta hold it together. You gotta like make sure, you gotta hold each other accountable of like, hey dude, like, you know, homie's getting dropped, like we gotta cool it down, or like, you know, go on like utilize this guy in this section because he's really good at the flats, and then it's just so complex.
That descent that we did on the last day when we were pace lining, that felt like that kind of an effort for all of us, because we were flowing so well. It was me, Taylor, Max, you, Matt, Lee, right? Sending it down like back into Springville. That was sick. Pulling good turns. It was so cool.
That feels good, and that's my favorite style of riding. That's what keeps me like actually cycling, is like when I know I'm competitive as much as the next guy, but like I truly think what keeps me riding bikes is the moments when we're just sending it like that, and none of us are trying to drop each other. None of us are trying to like win anything. It's
until
just,
the
like,
line.
Yeah, nah, not even that, dude. It's
until
like
the house.
Yeah, but like that, even that, like I'm more likely to give you like a high five or a fist bump if we like all TT'd a segment together and got it. True. Versus if someone we're just like sprinting for like a town sign. True. Like that's more of a feat of endurance that we all contributed to, rather than just like one person being like all sneaky and like getting it at the last moment. Like, yeah, that's cool, but also like, are we on the Champs-Elysees? No. Yeah. Like I'd prefer if like I think that is truly what embodies cycling is when you're going after these like endurance feats, pushing one another and like making sure we all do it. And we all get that crown, you know, because that's sick when you see like everyone doing well at the top. Like that's, you know, of a Strava leaderboard or anything. It's just like, I think that there's that's like the special experiences that you have. Right. You know, versus if you were just like, oh my God, I got the town sign, boom, and you're like posting on it. It's like, dude, no. It's like the things that we talk about are like, yo, you remember that like messed up day where like we TT'd that like entire segment at the end and I was so cracked, but like we all did it. Right. Like that's what's special. It's like,
that was a good moment from that weekend for sure. Talking about the people that we meet that weekend in particular, and moving into transplant talk, we met someone very special on that team camp. We met Jima.
Yeah, my grandma.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, my grandma Susan. Yeah.
What a beast.
Yeah, so she lives nearby in a town called Visalia. She's been living there for a little bit. She's originally from England, on the coast, and then she moved around in England before moving to North America with my grandma my grandpa, and settling down in California. But yeah, we got to meet her, and it was the highlight of her weekend.
Yeah.
Is seeing all of us, and we had pizza and Modelo's in her garage.
She's sick. Like she inspired some really, really good conversation that night, to be honest. Like,
yeah, she does all the time, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
She keeps it too real sometimes with people, and they don't want to talk to her. But
she caught Rachel in a trap that night.
Oh my God, she actually apologizes for being a little too harsh on millennials in that conversation, but nonetheless, it needed to happen. Anyway, yeah, we got to see my grandma. She's a really special person in my life, in a lot of other people's lives too. She's touched so many. She's a psychology teacher. She's a mentor of a lot of folks.
She's a professor at college?
She was she's now retired, but she was teaching at a community college in Visalia called College of the Sequoias. And before that was just kind of working in nonprofits and as a social worker. And
wow.
She could have an engineering degree for the way that she knows how to remodel a house. Like
her house was so breathtaking. Yeah, that was a cool.
Yeah, it's a very it's just a suburban street, but she knows how to make it look.
I mean, it's like a mid-century modern like dream house with like really dark redwood, natural redwood, no stain. Yeah. Like she talked about having that like meticulously refinished when she moved into that house in the 90s.
Yeah, dude, she's been living there for a sec, and yeah, she does a lot of her own work. She remodeled like part of my mom's house and helped with all that. Yeah, she definitely is someone who I talk with a lot about, just cycling and how to approach it differently, and she has a lot of good things to say just about like, ways that we can switch up cycling, because she's not someone who like grew up watching it or really knows a whole lot other than what I've taught her over the past decade. And I think that having someone like that to talk with about it offers such a cool vantage point. I think we honestly gotta, like, as a community, focus on other sports and be like, what could we change?
Totally.
Because I think we have too many people who are very attached to the traditional view of cycling that are dictating rules. Things. Yeah. That was a really special time. She had some interesting things to say about millennials. We'll leave it at that. She's really excited for Gen Z. Shout out Gen Z. My fellow Zetters, but I don't know. What was your takeaway with my grandma?
I thought she was a really cool person, honestly. I mean, she challenged a lot of our thinking as far as the level of empathy that we have to have as far as our career paths and the motions that we take in life. I thought it would be cool to talk about her, especially because we have a resident English person.
Oh yeah,
here. Your grandma told us some really cool stories as well, like.
Which part of England was she based?
She grew up mostly in Bristol.
Okay, Bristol's like beautiful. I've stayed there for a couple of weeks, quarantined there and COVID for a little bit.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's also where like GCN and a lot of good cyclists come from that area.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but yeah, she was in Bristol for a really long time. Grew up there.
She still has an accent.
She still does. It's fading, but it's there.
Banksy's from Bristol too.
He is. She really likes to say that as well. She loves Banksy. Fact. Yeah, she thinks he's so cool.
Has she ever met him?
No.
You would never know. You would never know if you met him, right?
Nah, dude. Maybe when she goes back. It's been a little bit since she's gone back. There's some family drama, but it's she talks about things a little bit too much, and sometimes people in the family don't really like that. She's writing a book right now, which kind of has to do with some of the drama, but it's her mother had my great grandma had like a lobotomy back in the day, and it's like one of the like more higher functioning people who had that happen. Damn. And so it's about
That's heavy.
Yeah, it's like about her experience getting raised by her like pre-lobotomy and post, and then it's just about like a broader history of that dark history in mental health, and the fact that, historically lots of women have gotten preyed on by the medical industry, by like, psychiatrists in general, and they were disproportionately affected by the lobotomy surgery, because it was just like, oh, what, you're crazy? Cool. Let's drill a hole in your head and like fucking swirl something around and like get rid of a bunch of brain cells. So yeah, it's about that, and it's a really, really interesting like experience, just because it's a part of my own family history that I'm not so familiar with, just because it is kind of a dark subject. But it's been pretty interesting to hear about so far.
Yeah, I bet.
She told us a couple of cool stories that I would be remiss not to share. I think you could help in telling this. But she spends a lot of time in the wilderness.
She
it
did,
sounds like.
yeah.
She's an explorer type.
Yeah, so basically when she moved from, when she met my grandpa in England, my grandpa's Canadian. They moved together to Ontario in Canada, like in Toronto. And yeah, so, a lot of Canadians up north have like cottages in the wilderness, like cabins basically.
Right.
Usually on a lake. So she spent a lot of time there, especially with my great grandpa, like my grandpa's dad. And he would take her out into the wilderness, and they'd do all sorts of stuff. And she had all these experiences, like snowmobiling out and like getting lost almost, and getting like run over, having to face off a moose and everything too. Like, being in like a dugout canoe in, it's just in. There was a story that she told where she was in the Amazon with my mom, and like
baby version of your mother.
My baby version of my mother, and like they like thought it would be cool to like take this baby in a dugout canoe on one of the like smaller rivers off the Amazon. They took it down some rapids, and the canoe like flipped. Oh my God. And they like had to pull it, and they're like piranhas and everything. It was just like a wild story, and it was all just because, my grandma really wanted to go to the Amazon, so they did it. They brought my mom, so she lives to tell the story.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
She sounds like a wonderful person.
You think she would take a dugout canoe down the LA River to visit you ever?
Maybe. There's actually like a cool like rental spot where you can rent kayaks and kayak down parts of the LA River. Yeah,
Sick.
it's like kind of by the Spoke Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't ever want to get conjunctivitis ever again, and I think that's
how you do it.
That's how you do it.
Maybe there's a guy who
just don't fall in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you splash the water up, gets in your mouth, gets in your eye. I'm good.
You gotta drink a whole glass, I feel like, to get it.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Some people don't wash their bike water bottles enough too. I feel like you should also have that happen.
That's true. Okay, I think we've had quite a long chat and long discussions. We should close this out soon, but before we do, rapid fire on some stuff, Lucy, you think?
Yeah, we just have a couple of questions, hopefully not too difficult. So, number 1, Shram or Shimano?
Shimano.
Giro, Tour, or Vuelta?
Giro.
Ooh.
Olympics or World Champs?
World Champs.
Sick.
Sunrise rides or sunset rides?
I'd have to say sunset.
Favorite place to ride outside of California?
I had a really, really awesome time riding in Vancouver, up in British Columbia.
Mountain biking?
No, road biking.
Oh, wow.
I want to go back with my mountain bike.
Yeah.
If I find it.
Whistler, huh? Well, you will find it.
But no. The riding up there is great, and the community there is super cool. There's some cool bike racing, and it's just a very like social place.
Okay, what about inside California then?
Inside California, my favorite place to ride?
Yeah.
Man, I really, really, really enjoy some of the roads in like North County, San Diego, kind of around like Palomar, Murrieta in there. There's some really, really amazing like hidden delicacies of roads out there that are amazing.
Sick.
No one knows. I hit people up to ride over there, and they're just like, nah, bro, that's too far. But it's so close, and yet it's so good. Oh
BWR was just this past weekend.
They were, yeah, they are. They're kind of like south of where some of the stuff is, but that stuff's still really cool. But I think that the area like I'm referring to is very like it's a cool spot. I can send y'all some routes.
We'll put it in the description.
Yeah,
Milo's
sure.
favorite rides.
Who would you want to go for a bike ride with? Anyone in the world. Maybe they don't ride a bike right now, or maybe they do. They can be dead or alive.
Historical figure. Pro athlete.
Or your grandma.
I actually started riding bikes with my grandma, so
Awesome.
Really?
yeah. She she's one of the main people that got me in it. But man, a historical figure. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool. I think it'd be pretty cool to go on like a ride with like James Baldwin or someone.
Oh.
I feel like he'd have some stuff to say. He'd be able to like really explain how the bike is necessary for social cohesion. So.
You sound like a student.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
What is just a quick fun fact about you that we haven't touched on today?
I really like trains.
Nice.
I thought you liked dumpsters.
Oh no, like no, like trash trucks. Oh yeah, I really did like trash trucks when I was a kid for some reason. I think my parents thought I was like on the spectrum because of that, but because I was truly obsessed. But trains are really cool, and I think that they are pretty necessary if we want to have like a sustainable future in the U.S.
Agreed.
So
100%.
it goes deeper than just the fact that they're a really cool moving object.
True.
LA is a very interesting place to be if you love trains, because there's not that many of them.
There's not that many of them, and there are, but they suck.
We just took the train last weekend,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
There's room for improvement, though.
there is, and it's actually part of a little like series I have going on right now called Round Trip, which is kind of highlighting some of the epic riding you can do from LA that utilizes the few train services that we have. Because truly, if you combine the bike and the train, you have like just an amazing scope of exploration you have like at your fingertips.
The A line, aka the Gold Line, is being extended all the way out, I think, to like almost Redlands.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be able to take the train from basically Highland Park,
Yeah.
or even from downtown all the way out.
Totally. You can take Metrolink out there now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a ride I did recently where you start from LA and you can ride over the mountains, like into the desert behind the San Gabriels.
That's crazy.
Right, all the way down to the San Bernardino Mountains and up and over those, and then you end in San Bernardino and can just take the train back.
Badass.
Yeah, it's super cool.
What is your favorite ride length?
I would have to say, like, I think that the ones that I remember the most are the ones that are like 115 to 20
Miles?
Yeah. Because like usually there's like a lot of there's some hardship you had to go through with it. Like homies are hurting, and you're like, those are the ones that I talk about where you're just like, you remember when we were all like fucked up on the side of the road? We were like, I can't do it, man. Like that.
True.
Those are those rides that I really enjoy looking back on. But if I was to say a more like civilized amount, probably 30. Just like I can hit like it's like short enough for me to hit like when I'm doing some like schoolwork or something and I need to feel different. I just go out, hit a quick 30 miles, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fully formed. It feels like I've done something today.
What's some advice that you have for someone new to cycling?
Don't be afraid to hop into social groups and group rides. I know it can be really like it can feel kind of unapproachable sometimes, just how like close the cycling community is, and you see all these people who are looking so pro, but like the cycling community loves new people and they love explaining how to ride bikes to people, which can be for better or for worse. But I would just say like don't be afraid to hop in to your local group ride. Don't feel intimidated, because you'll find your group, and once you find your crew, like it's only up from there.
Just don't be that creep sitting on the fast ladies wheel.
Definitely don't do that. Yeah.
Without
Oh, yeah.
saying.
Man, best advice I would actually give. Yeah. What I said was great. Other good advice. If someone rolls up on you or you roll up on someone, you're trying to draft them, ask them first. Be like, hey, how you doing today? Like, you mind if I hitch a ride? Don't be that creep that's just like silently stalking and like not saying anything, like wheel sucking. Don't do that.
Announce your presence
Yeah.
and ask for consent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just don't be that person.
Thank you.
Favorite cycling accessory?
I'd probably say like a buff.
Really?
Yeah, because like you don't need it so often, but when you have it, oh my God, that thing feels so good. Like in the times where you really need a buff,
Yeah.
that accessory goes so hard. Like it truly makes or breaks a descent or like just a really bad, messed up cold moment of the ride.
Yeah. Otherwise known as a neck gator.
Neck gator,
Yeah.
neck thingy. It's
Yeah.
like it
Snood.
It's
It
such a
should be the
crazy.
fabric.
Yeah, it's like such a small thing too, and yet like it makes such a big difference when you need it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel very grateful for those.
Keeps you from getting cloud burn on the back of your neck on a long ride. It's nice.
Yeah, me especially.
Last rapid fire. Use 3 words to explain what riding a bike is to you.
3 words, Milo.
I would probably say it's exploration, cohesion, and just growth, I would say.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool, man. I think that about wraps it up for our little chat with Milo Baker.
Damn. All
Hell
right.
yeah,
well,
dude.
thank you for having me on here. This was
Thanks
fun.
for stopping in, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I like the app, so this is a good opportunity.
I knew you'd be perfect for this.
And if people want to follow you or your team on social media, how can they find you?
So you can find the team at afaic.bike on Instagram.
We'll put it in the description.
Do it, and you can find me like most white people. It's just my first name and my last name, Milo_Baker.
Very cool.
Nice.
So there we go.
It was an absolute pleasure recapping our little trip to Sequoia and getting to know a little bit more about what inspires you to ride, and a lot of the stories that you told about your team I did not know.
Totally.
I think a lot of people should hear these things.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I'm glad you guys provided a platform to share them, and you guys are both like very interesting people to have as podcast hosts. So
thank you.
I appreciate you guys inviting me on here.
Amen.
Thanks for coming.
Our pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
All right.
Cool.
Quick shout out and thank you is deserved to Mitch Boyer. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that we're back in the How to Drop Your Friends studio space, and we're really happy to be here.
Yeah, it feels good to be back in the space after a couple of episodes out of it.
We missed it.
Yeah, I did. Thank you very much, Mitch.
We missed Remy too. I'm sure you heard him in the video.
Thanks again for tuning in to the podcast. As a reminder, we'll be putting out episodes weekly, hopefully every Wednesday. Please share this podcast with your friends and family. We'd love to build this and reach as many people as possible. And as always, if there's any topics that you'd like to weigh in on from this episode, we'd love to hear from you and maybe even talk about them again in more depth on a future episode. So please drop us a message on our Instagram, shoot us an email, othersidecycling@gmail.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe,
Leave a comment.
share your thoughts. And as of this week, I believe all future episodes will be on Apple Podcasts too. So we'll put the previous episodes on there.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 6 will be on there. Thank you for your patience whilst we figured that out. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching or listening.
Bye.
Go ride your bike. Bye.